Blessings, divine masters of the light. Yeah, what a beautiful day today. So here we are on my wife and I's private property here in New Hawk Nation in Bella Coola, BC. You are in a part of my food forest. So today's video is all about, let's move out of the city and let's get a small piece of land. Yeah, that's what my wife and I did. So you're seeing a lot of earthquakes and eruptions and floods and fires and famine and disease and addictions and viruses, etc. are all warnings, and most are not listening and most are not ready. So I want you to understand how warnings come. Okay, so these natural disasters were created and the aperture didn't exist before it was created. So what is peculiar about creation? How can you identify its hallmarks? Simply this way: its aperture did not exist prior. It occurred when everyone was asleep in bed. But on a Monday weekend, Monday weekend morning, that would have been the beginning of a work week in your civilization. It was a warning. It was deliberate. Now, what is the warning about? That the earth is on the move and nature is going to have her way? I want for you whom I have taught for so many years about sovereignty to take a look at the people who always squawked at the idea of food shortage and water shortage and moving out of the cities. Some such people found this unfashionable indeed, are the various ones scrambling for safety and security and having nothing in their pantries to eat. If you are an enlightened being who is one with the natural world, well, you should always be sovereign and work with nature. And not against it, of course. Only fools, ignorant and arrogant, work against it. Plenty of those. I have all of these years pulled you out of cities and asked you to move to the land far from the water's edge. Meaning, move inland and acquire a small piece of land. I know now it is impossible at these prices to acquire a small piece of land, but they have been artificially created, and one day those that have done it will come done very hard. But a little bit of land, and you must make sure there is plenty of water on that land. If there isn't, don't buy it. You must make sure there are trees, grassland on it. For there aren't, then don't buy it. You must have a certainty that the soil is good, soil tested. Have it, have the water tested. And they're to make a home that perhaps is not socially acceptable to the outside world, but is naturally acceptable, like a cob house, earthship, wimpini. Learning to grow a garden, it's like printing your own money. It's so much food. Sometimes we just can't eat. We give it away to our friends and family. We learn to preserve it, preserve the seeds. We learn to harvest and keep harvesting so much harvest and preserve that food for we can eat all year and we have leftovers next year. Learn to do it yourself, not someone else for you. Experience should be your own. And putting up for all of these times ahead is going to ensure survival. But why is that important, you may ask? Because if you are still that little monkey mind sitting there, that doesn't think this talk is for you, you are not going to survive. Because your mind has not been created accurately to do that. This great event indeed comes on the heels of a warning. Warnings all over the place. Fires, records, every year new records of fires. We heard to develop the mind. We can create food in the body, but until you are ready to grow, it is best you have lots in the storehouse, root cellar, our cold room, our fridges, our freezers, canned in your cupboards, full. Now this is not anything new. I have talked of this for years and have predicted it. I have seen hundreds of my clients move out of the city and into the country, and I push this on all my clients. Move out of the city. Indeed, so be it. What I want you to understand now, coming up on this, these years of observation, a more drastic change. If you haven't done any of these things, you best get with it. If you haven't planted a garden, well, you best get with it and get the materials and learn. YouTube videos, endless, learn how to do it straight away before they come short supplied and you can't get the seeds, can't get the supplies. If you don't know how to pick something, then prepare it. You better learn. If you don't have enough water, well, you better move to a place that does. Dig a well. Get a small well. Get a short well. Be by a creek. Get your hydro from the creek. Get so we have plenty of water. So much water on Earth, right? If you're sitting on an island by the ocean, well, you better move because, the glaciers are melting and sink that thing. Cover it. Putting up and storing up is a joyful thing to do, my friends. You can grow plants on your list. Whatever your list is, grow it. You can have it. If you fish, fish is running in the river, go fish it. And you're hungry, well, you're going to learn to catch them, aren't you? Yeah, understand that, divine ones. You understand what I'm trying to say here. I got a couple dozen chickens, give me eggs all day. You're living in an age of plagues right now. The more you depend upon other people to handle and prepare your food, like the system, the more vulnerable you're going to become, to these outright plagues and these viruses. Believe me, they're going to release more. That's not the last one. Promise you that. I remember talking of poisons and poison meats and that you should watch for it, And of course, shortly after, it became contaminated. You got swine flu, E. coli, infectious organisms inside your meat and in your fish now, including bacteria, viruses, and parasites, mad cow disease, these chicken flus, oh my God, chlorella, E. coli, different kinds of bacteria, many fish poisonings too as well, so you can also get salmonella and staphylococcus and things like that. Is any wonder that it did? Of course it did. I wouldn't have told you if it wasn't going to happen. Now this is a warning to more and more food handlers. The more you depend upon other people to handle and prepare your food, the more vulnerable you are going to become to outright plagues. You like to eat out a lot, then don't eat anything else from until you know who cooked it, right? And don't eat anything that came packaged from some foreign place, because the food is contaminated. Some entities are serving foodstuff in the kitchen in many places, and they oftentimes, they cut their finger. I was a chef for 19 years, and bleeding the salad in the bowl, dripping in your bowl, dripping on your plate during a rush. Not taking care of the personal hygiene. It is one thing to wash your hands, but when you start picking your nose and continue to work or scratch your ass, you have polluted yourself again. I was watching some of these videos how they're preparing food. It's funny. This sounds very comical, but you're living in the age of plagues that was forecasted to come, and they are coming, and in every manner possible. And contamination happens when you depend upon strangers to feed you. It is all right to go to the market and purchase, all your food stuff, but purchase them raw and then wash them thoroughly. It is far better to grow them yourself, divine ones, for they will not be grown with chemicals that are poisonous, that cause you cancer to the body. When you grow them yourself, and you grow them with your own energy, you taste that. You are given back to the body's vital life this way. Learn tasks from them, Does it seem too hard for you? Too difficult? Too boring? I can't do it. I don't have the money. I will tell you, I still make my own bread and have a massive garden in my yard. And I can also catch fish very easily. Focus on doing it. And naturally, you will do it. So be it. Go with chickens? Well, you want some chicken? Got some eggs? There you go. Boom. I want you to be more aware of what you're doing and who is doing it for you. I want you to become more interdependent upon yourself and these that you trust, okay? And know very well you can share food stuff, food communities. Someone grows something else, share it. You can share your crops. You can share things, tools, tool sheds, right? Seeds, land, community gardens, yeah. And you will be the healthiest, non-diseased people in this country. Most people are sick now. It's wild. And most of the world in the large are sick. I love you. I have always loved you. In any form you have ever been, I have loved you. May my teachings assist you with the song in your heart. And you want to move out of the city and get yourself a small piece of land. I just picked 14 bags of raspberries. Not to mention how the blueberries are all coming up. Thimbleberries are all coming up. I just picked a whole bag of huckleberries, And there's just so much beans. We have to can them and freeze them. There's just so many. They're going to be lasting us all winter. Not to mention the carrots we're just pulling up right now already. Potatoes going to be coming out through a whole bunch of potatoes. I'm telling you, we got literally 200 corn plants right now planted that just pump out the corn. My goodness, just load it up. We got like Ramon lettuce here. There's a massive garden behind me with pretty much everything in it. It's pretty much our own food forest. Not to mention we have over 20 fruit trees. I studied permaculture in university, and it's very peaceful, very quiet. Maybe you hear the rooster once in a while, but other than that, it's pretty peaceful. And just the food abundance around, like the wild berries around, the wild fruit around is just plentiful. You can load up. We even got the wild rice down on the tidal flats. You can go harvest as well. Not to mention the mushroom season here. You get pie mushrooms and chanterelles and all kinds of mushrooms you can pick here, non-stop of them. But it's getting to a place that's just plentiful. And we're right near glacier water, drinking glacier water all day. It's always like fresh, crisp water. The water here is like a turquoise green, blue color. It's beautiful. There's no water shortage here. There's fires all around, like up on the flat country, but there was no fires here. It was just beautiful, and it was like moist. It rained the whole time, and then there'd be balance between the sunshine and the rain, and it's always green, always lush, always beautiful here, and just so much food, pumping out the food. Like enough apples that last me the whole year, and that's me making applesauce. My wife does that, cans the whole thing, and giving it to the chickens all year, plus making all your pie fillings, and you got endless apples, and then you make your apple juice. You make 30-40 containers of apple juice, and you still got enough apples to last you all year. It's that plentiful with the amount of food, not to mention the plums that we have here, and the cherries that just keep pumping out, the buckets of them. We got pear trees pumping it out, Asian pear trees pumping it out. We got a nectarine tree just pumping it out. Just boom, boom, boom. Just constant food. It's like you can't even eat it all. That's why you got the chickens. You just give it to the chickens, and the chickens love it, and they enjoy it. And in return, they give you protein. They give you eggs. It's like, and then you can have barter systems with people. Some people fish, some people do crabbing, some people do prawning, and then you got all the food, or you got eggs because you're getting so much eggs every day, and you're doing barter systems with people. And that's the way to go. I was in the city for many years, and it's like no barter systems happened there. Everything was jacked up in price. There was little community gardens I could go to, but nothing like this massive food forest that just keeps producing itself and just keeps pumping out that food, Not to mention the air. The air is so crisp and beautiful here. My God, we're in the bear country, the Great Bear Rainforest, and you see bears all day long. It's just magical, beautiful, pristine place where your soul is set on fire and you feel energetic and alive, and you're not sucked into the toxicity of the lower energy of the city. And everywhere you walk, wherever that person walks, their energy's on that pathway. It rains here so much that everywhere you walk, it's fresh. I can walk for hours and still not run into a single person. There is so much space here. Endless hundreds of trails, hiking up to Glacier Peak. Some of the biggest trees are here. It's just magical, pristine place. So get out to the country, get somewhere magical where your heart is singing and was pulling you to go. So be it to that.